Well, a very good day to you all as we recollect the tragedies that have gone on, first of all in Orlando, and of course there was Kansas as well, and so many things not going quite right in the world, and atrocities, both man-made and of course from idiots is the only way to describe it. And of course today we also take the opportunity to remember the Manchester tragedy that happened only just a few weeks ago. A lot of people have come over from the United States, 5 of the lovely people, survivors of these aforementioned tragedies. They're joining us here as we go around Manchester today to lay some stars of hope, stars, each individual one painted with a specific message and a specific thought behind it. So we're going to be looking exactly into what that means and what the Stars of Hope, and indeed the group the Stars of Hope, bring to us here this week in Manchester.
The toast is to everybody in Manchester, particularly everybody here and supporting us in what we're doing, and to everybody who was impacted in some way by the Arena terror attack and by the London terror attack, so 3 of them, not killing people in Brentford Tower, and to all of the people from pubs, from San Bernardino, from New York, who've taken the time to express their love and gratitude and connection to us all here. And the toast is to unity, love, connection.
Oh.
Thank you. I'm from Georgia.
From Georgia,
Yes,
right.
yeah.
Is it Marcel? Is that-
Marcel.
Marcel.
Mhm.
Marcel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, Josh Garcia from Orlando, Florida. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Morning, particularly? No, afternoon, sorry.
I'm Suzanne Bernier from Toronto, Canada. I'm the Global Ambassador for Stars of Hope, and I'm on the board of the foundation that created Stars of Hope New York. So thank you.
My name is Matt Dighton from Greensburg, Kansas.
And you was a
Tornado.
tornado some years ago. Yes.
10 years ago, May 4th, 95% of our community was annihilated at 10 o'clock at night. And the Stars of Hope actually came at the holiday Christmas time, brought 220 stars. The kids put messages, and then we put them in each where the houses used to be in town. And now there are, I think we're going to hit 68,000 stars today in Manchester.
So they can send those messages back to the Hope Bank, and then us as volunteers will bring them to the next place that we go.
For the 1-year anniversary in December of this last year, and it was their Christmas parade and their Christmas event, and they brought snow off the mountain. They made a sled run for the kids. It was wonderful, and Josh was there, and we introduced Josh to a survivor that a co-worker basically covered her up, and he died, and she's alive. And now Josh is communicating with the folks in San Bernardino, networking back and forth for the healing process, because this is a whole new system of liability and responsibilities upon the employers, and because they were at a county, employees event. So it's just been amazing what Josh and Orlando has stood up and done.
I don't think anybody really knew what was going on until they saw people on the ground bleeding and heard people screaming and heard the commotion, because you didn't know when you're in a bar like that, you really think that it's music.
I don't know where my son is. No one can tell me where my son is.
Immediately following the attack, the gunman is reported to have barricaded himself into the club and taken hostages. The police performed a controlled explosion outside to distract him before he was shot dead. At a news conference, they said he appeared to be armed with an assault-type rifle, a handgun, and some sort of device.
And I found that there's a huge connection, like we were talking about, being connected by the stars. So much that Matt and I first met in San Bernardino when we were there together to help bring stars there. But then, little did I know that Matt would come and help us in Canada when we had the largest wildfire in Canadian history a year ago in Fort McMurray, Alberta, in northern Canada. And Matt came to Canada with a bunch of volunteers, including a woman from San Bernardino, a survivor, to come all the way up to us to help bring some hope and healing to that community.
Horrific scene playing out tonight. An entire city evacuated.
Lord, keep us safe. Get us out of Fort McMurray in one piece.
The fire shifted directions and barreled into the oil town of Fort McMurray so fast and with such intensity, tonight people forced to run with nothing but the clothes on their backs are still trying to process how their lives could be turned upside down so quickly.
So my biggest concern right now is really figuring out what we do next.
At least 1,600 homes and buildings leveled. Hospital patients and homeowners flooded the road south. An unprecedented exodus of nearly 90,000 people.
Massive bang. Fire just went up in the air and we felt the heat smacked us in the face.
Which way? Come on. Come on, let's get round. Come on, we get round this way.
And then suddenly a massive flash, a bang, smoke. I felt a bit of pain in my foot and my leg.
Kids and that, teenagers and that, lying there screaming.
Yeah, very shaken. I think it's just the reality of how close it came.
There came a point when Scotland announced the flowers were beginning to degrade and so we needed to clear the square, and that was done very sensitively.
So Manchester Art Gallery, we're part of the City Council, so we're the only City Council owned museum gallery in the city. So I think after people became aware of the enormity of the scale of the tributes in the square, that because it grew massively over that period of weeks. I mean, I think there was over 200,000 or 300,000 flowers, bunches of flowers, plus massive amounts of letters and tributes and memorabilia, lots of things that were produced by primary schools and communities. And some of the things there were very personal, so they were from families of the victims, or they were from friends of the victims, or people that were there themselves. Because what we recognise is that it's really important as a complete archive, because it's not just about some of the things that were left were really beautiful. People had spent a lot of time and a lot of love in creating these things, but then also people had left notes on scraps of paper, so they'd been there, that they'd responded to it, and they wrote on whatever they had at hand. So people had written on the back of receipts because they wanted to express something and give something to contribute. At the moment, we're collecting material together. The flowers, which obviously were the main thing that people associate with the tributes, we were able to sort of take a few of those before we cleared the square. So because we wanted to be able to press some flowers, to do something with those flowers for the families of the people who died. So those are in the conservation studios now, so they'll be in the presses for quite a bit longer.
So Stars of Hope is a way for people who have been affected by a tragedy, whether it's man-made or whether it's not, whether it's natural disaster, to put a message of hope and inspiration. And we kind of say that it's a simple art project that touches the world and can touch the world. So it's messages of hope and healing that are put on these stars. So this is one of the stars that was made in Philadelphia by a student. And you say Danger Lopez, yep, and she writes on here, "Hey, I'm Danger. I'm from Philly, and I just want you to," I'm gonna start crying, I'm sorry you guys. "I just want you to know that I, along with millions of other people, care. We're here for all of you, and I want to tell you to not be afraid. Don't ever stop smiling. You can't let hate win. Fight with love. No one should ever be afraid to go out and enjoy music. Music cures the soul. A little note from me. Smile along with your favorite music and let your love show. Danger Lopez."
So this star here traveled quite a bit. It started in Connecticut, went to San Bernardino. From San Bernardino, it went to Pulse. while I was in Orlando, it traveled on our Pride float for right after the tragedy, and then it also did a Harley-Davidson run through Orlando, and then it was on our Tree of Hope that was on site at Orlando as well. And then Fran, who's also a volunteer for Stars of Hope, is very close to this young man, and we were having a conversation at the 1 year mark, and she was like, "Where's the star?" And as we're talking, I looked to the left of her shoulder, and it's right there. So I was like, I have to grab this star and make sure it comes to Manchester, because Dylan's been traveling around with us and helping us get through it. So I hope that he can help you be your angel as well. There's a message they wrote specifically for you as well. So from Newtown, Connecticut to Orlando, Florida to Manchester, England, with love, Stars of Hope.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. How do you cope with the identity of this word victim? Because I feel that, because I've been looking at more permanent memorials so that we don't forget, but from not forgetting comes a feeling of needing to do something so that our young people are not remembered as victims, but they're remembered as instigators of change. They're remembered at the point of which we made that decision that we weren't prepared to proceed with the ways in which hate still permeates much of our society.
It's just important to take that time and not to rush it. I think that's something that Orlando's really looking at, is not to rush this. I mean, the fence is still there, and there's still things being put down to this day, which is beautiful. But it's just not to rush it. Take the time with it, and make sure everyone that wants to be involved is involved.
Has that opportunity, absolutely so.
It's a little bit easier in the Orlando area because they are going to make the Pulse site will become a museum. So those pieces in that collection will then be in the museum. So that's a little bit easier for them as they go forward. But for you all, we're exactly where would you display it? Because it needs to still be set.
Thank you guys for having us. It's been wonderful.
So there we go, you can see their stories are very, very poignant stories, each one with a specific message of hope. Stay strong, stay gold, and I'll see you this time next week for Showbiz Scandals. Thank you.